What's up, Internet? This is Adam again, here with a new gameplay video for the Clearing version 2.02 rules update. After going over the feedback that I received previously, I went through and I went up a full version because I feel like I went in trying to deal with the biggest problem with the game in its original form, which was that the system where the player took two actions and then the opponent took an action, and sometimes during the player's actions, the opponent would also get to take actions. It made the whole game flow really awkward, and so it made the whole thing difficult to follow, and it made it really easy to lose your place in. So that's been at the forefront of my mind for a long time. So the 2.0 of the 2.0.2 update really is that I've gone in and I've restructured the way that gameplay plays out so that there's no separate opponent turn anymore. The player has their turn, and the player can take one action, and then you have the player phase where the player takes their action, and then you have the enemy phase at the end of the turn where the player plays anywhere from 0 to 2 enemy cards straight from the top of the deck, depending on what they did during their turn. So if you've read through the 2.0.2 rules, you will notice that I've removed the word opponent from the whole thing. I wanted to kind of move toward more of a this is a solitaire game feel, not like you are playing against another person and you're just playing both people, but more whenever you take actions, you are the one who has to sort of enforce the consequences on yourself. So I'm going to go through a few playtest games to kind of walk through some of the things from the new rules. The turn structure, I've gone in and I've tried to detail further in the rules the enemy card placement rules, because that was also another kind of hang up for people. I went through and I changed the terminology for jokers and the way that jokers work. I changed the way that, or I didn't change the way that barriers work, but I changed the terminology for barriers so barriers aren't cleared anymore. Barriers are converted, and when you convert a barrier, it flips over and it becomes a character. I've changed the default start, and I've kind of expanded the setup options, and then at the end of the new rules document, I've also got alternate setups if you want to kind of tweak the difficulty yourself. I may honestly take one of those and make it the new default start, because the current start feels too easy to me. I feel like the game was very hard, and I feel like the changes that I've made are good, but I've swung it too far in the other direction, and so I'm trying to recalibrate to kind of set like a more even difficulty line. So the new setup described in the rules at the end it's referred to as the basic 3-2 setup. So there are 3 characters and 2 obstacles, and they're laid out in a plus shape. So the basics of the setup are still more or less the same. So we'll go through, we'll go until we pull 3 characters, we'll place those. 2 and 3, okay, and then we'll pull the next 2 obstacles from the top, place those, give these a little room, even them out. Come on. All right, so got those laid out in a plus shape. Shuffle the deck back together. We'll draw our hand. Okay, alright. Yeah, we can work with this. So during the player's turn, you can take one of two actions. You can play a card, or you can draw cards. Playing a card is exactly the same as it was before. And drawing cards, I've changed so that now you can draw cards at any time. It's not just when you have one card left in hand. You can draw cards at any time. If you have fewer than 3 cards in hand, you draw up to 3 until you have 3 cards in hand. And if you have 3 cards in hand, you draw 1. 3 or more cards in hand, you draw 1. So now you can draw at any time. There's no such thing as an edge case anymore where I had to write out like extra rules to be like, oh, this is what happens if you end up in a spot where there's nothing you can do. Now it's just, oh, well, if there's nothing I can play on, I draw. The caveat to that is anytime you draw cards, you play 2 enemy cards during the enemy phase. So whether you draw 1 or 3, you play 2 enemy cards. So for this opener, alright. So I'll use this 9 to clear this 7. Then I will use this 10 to clear this 9. It seems kind of a shame, but it is what it is. So there are 2 conditions under which you will play enemy cards during the enemy phase. One of them is if you drew any cards during the turn, and the other is if you have 1 card left. So whenever you play down to 1 card, you play 1 enemy card. So I'll play that right here. Since there are no obstacles on, at face value, all of the possible places you could put it would be equally valid, but because there's a straight line, you want to cap the ends. So I'll just put it right there. It doesn't really matter which end it goes on, but I did specify in the enemy placement rules that if after going through all the placement rules, there are still multiple options, you start at the space farthest from you and go clockwise until you find a place. So doing that, we would start here, and trying to decide between these 2, we end up right here. So for that, so I'm going to play this 2 onto the 7. So if you played the previous version, there was a mechanic called affinity, which has now been changed. It is now called the same suit rule, basically. So if you play a resource next to a character of the same suit, it gets the same suit bonus, and it is referred to as a powerful resource. So this 2 of spades, since I played it next to a queen of spades, is a powerful 2, which means that it's worth +1. So this 2 is worth 3 right now. So my hand is empty, so the only thing I can do is redraw. So I'll draw up to 3. It's a good pull. Nice. Nice. And then I play 2 enemy cards because I drew. That's not nice. So I'll play that there. Then I'll pull this one. So let's talk about the enemy placement rules. Enemy card placement rules. I have the rules document pulled up on another monitor, so I can go through them one by one to describe how enemy placement works. So placing enemy cards is an algorithmic process. So it's a series of conditions that you should be able to go through until you have a single place that's like, this is where the card goes. So enemy cards should be placed so they share sides with as few cards as possible. So I can take this card, and if I put it in any one of these 6 spaces, it will share a side with a single card. So that doesn't eliminate any of them. Enemy cards should be placed to block the development of the crew in straight lines of 2 or more characters, called capping the ends. Well, the ends are already capped, here and here, so that also doesn't help. Enemy cards should be placed as far away from the center of the crew as possible to limit expansion of the crew. So that eliminates this spot and this spot. So we're going to put it in one of these 4. Enemy cards should be placed nearest to the obstacles that would be easiest to clear in order to preempt expansion. So the ace is the easiest one to clear, so that narrows it down to these 2. Enemy cards should be placed perpendicular to a straight line of characters on the side with the fewest enemy cards. Neither side has any enemy cards on it, so it's still between this spot and this spot. Enemy cards placed perpendicular to a straight line of characters should be placed 1 card away from the other enemy cards in order to create bottlenecks. Again, there are no other enemy cards, so it's still between these 2. If all else fails, place an enemy card in the place furthest away from you, then place them clockwise around the perimeter of the crew. So this is the spot furthest from me. As if this were a table that I was sitting at looking at physical cards, this is the spot furthest from me. So that's where the card goes. So that's, I played the ace and I played the 8, and so it's my turn. So I will take this, take this 4 and play it onto the ace to clear it. Then I will play this queen. I have 1 card left in hand, so I play 1 enemy card. So this one is easy. I just need to recap the end with this barrier. It says at the end of the enemy card placement rules, the majority of enemy card placements will be handled by the first few conditions. Often the right place to play an enemy card will be in the place of an obstacle you just cleared. You want to make the best openings for yourself, and the enemy cards want to block your best openings. So that's literally what I just did. So now I have this ace in hand, and I could play it to clear the 8, I could play it to clear the 7, but since playing it right here would not make it a powerful ace, I can't play it on this barrier. Barriers can only be converted by powerful aces. So I can more or less waste this ace, or I can just draw 2. So I will draw 2, and then I will play 2 more enemy cards. So this 8, the ends are both capped. I want to play it closest to the obstacle that will be easiest to clear. So it's in one of these 2, and I want to place it on the side of a line with the least enemy cards. And there are no cards on this side, so it goes right here. And then the second enemy card, I have the same set of options. I go back to right here. By the placement rules, both of these sides are equally valid because they each only have 1 enemy card, but because this spot is close to the one that is most likely to be removed, that's the optimal place to play it. It's a lot of 8s. So now it's my turn. So I'm going to play this 10. I'll play this 10 on this 8, clear it. Then I will play this 4. I'll play this 4 on this 8. It's not going to clear it, but it gets it out of my hand. So I have 1 card left in hand, so I draw. I play 1 enemy card, so it just goes right back here. Then I'll draw 2 because I don't want to blow my ace. And then I will play 2 more enemy cards. So this one, it wants to go near this end. It wants to go on this side because it has the fewest enemy cards, but it also wants to be 1 space away from the next enemy card. So it goes right here. Boom. And then the other card, this one actually is a little more straightforward. It's going to go in one of these two, because this would place it touching the least number of cards. 2, 2 versus 3, 3. And because this is a barrier and this is an obstacle, we want to place it next to the obstacle because the obstacle is most likely to get cleared. So now it's my turn again. I do have the Ace of Clubs now. So I can convert one of these 3 barriers. It's just a matter of deciding which one. I mean, this one I think really is the optimal play, because it lets me keep building in a straight line, and you want to keep building in a straight line because it gives you the most additional space to grow for each character that you add on to a straight line. So for this, you don't stack it on or anything because you're not removing this card, so you really just discard it and flip it over. Now it's a character. Boom. So powerful ace, converted the barrier. And then I will take this 9 and I will use it to powerfully clear this 8, which, I mean, it's already more than the 8, so it doesn't matter. So I have 1 card left in hand. This is an easy play, cap the end. So I still want to hold that ace, so I'm going to draw 2, and then I'll play 2 enemy cards. Great, cool, super cool. This one, it goes right here because it's, does it go here? Yes, because this is the spot that's touching the fewest cards. This is the only place I can play it where it's only going to be touching 1 card. So that's rule number 1, easy. And then the other enemy card, so it would be 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. So it's not going to go on this side. It's going to go... What does it say? Placed as far away from the center of the crew as possible to limit the expansion of the crew. So it wants to go here. Cool. All right, so my turn. I'll play this 9 to clear the 8, and then I'll play the 5 to clear the 3. So I'll play the 1 enemy card. It goes right here, because this is the only place it can go where it's only touching 1 card. And the other enemy, or no, that's just the 1. So then I would draw 2, 1, 2, and then play 2 enemy cards. So this one goes back into this spot, and then this one, not there, far from the center, right here, boom. So I will play, since this 2 is worth 3, I'll go ahead and play this 5 onto it. So that adds up to 8, and I'll clear that 7 that's been sitting there the whole darn game. And then I'll play this 3 powerfully onto this 7 just to get it out of my hand. I have 1 card left, so I play 1 enemy card, cap the end. With that barrier, I'll draw 2 because I'm still hoarding 1 ace. I'll play 2 enemy cards. So this king wants to go... Okay, so right now we have 3 bottlenecks. There's no place I can play this where it's not going to be touching 3 enemy cards. So it wants to go as far away from the center as possible. So it's either going to go here or here. And then it wants to go near the obstacles that are most likely to be cleared. So it goes right here. Boom. So that's 1. And then this one would go right here. So you can see right now, this is the only opening I have left. I'm really pushing it right now. But yeah, as luck would have it, the placement rules gave us an opportunity to powerfully play this ace. So we will convert this barrier into a character. So now we have a new opening that we can start expanding through. So since that's the King of Hearts, also we can powerfully play this 5 and use it to clear this other 5. So I will play 1 enemy card and cap that end. Since that's a line of 2 now, then yeah, I don't need to hold this 7 for anything in particular, and because the deck is down to 14 cards, like I'm really in the end game right now. So instead of trying to focus on expansion, I'm really trying to maximize my plays now to try to make sure that I survive until the end of the game. So right now, I'm going to take this 7, clear this 6 to play out my hand, and then I'll draw 3. Nice. 2, 3. And then I'll play 2 enemy cards. So this one wants to go right here to cap that end. And this Joker, now enemy Jokers still work the same way that they used to. So if you pull a Joker as an enemy card, it replaces the lowest value obstacle. So it just replaces that too. So that actually leaves me with 1 more opening than I expected. Jokers have changed as obstacles in that the Jokers are now suitless 10s. They can be cleared with regular resources, not just with aces like they used to be. So you may have noticed I drew a Joker and didn't immediately play it as an opponent card. That is also how Jokers have changed. A Joker, so when I designed aces, I wanted aces to be good for the player. Aces were always good for the player. They're worth 1 as obstacles, and they can clear, anything. Then I was like, okay, I'm going to make obstacles good for the opponent, or I'm going to make Jokers always good for the opponent. And that was really unnecessarily complicated, and it turns out it was unnecessary because literally every card the opponent pulls is good for the opponent because you have to beat the number to clear them. So I'm like, well, what if the player also can have good Jokers too? So now a player Joker is always a powerful ace. It's a wild card, effectively. So I can take this Joker and bail myself out of the hold that I got myself into by holding that ace of diamonds for so long the whole game. And I can play this Joker to convert this king from a barrier into a character. And then I'll make my other play for the turn, and I'll play this 6 onto this 4 to just clear it. Boom. Then I'll play 1 enemy card, cap that end. Then I'll play this 2. Just play the 2 onto the 10 just to kind of preload it. Actually, this is a better 10 to remove, so I'll play it onto there. Then I'll draw 3. 1, 2, 3, and then I'll play 2 enemy cards. So This one wants to go as far away from the center as possible, near the ends, near the obstacle, easiest to remove. You know what? Touching the fewest cards. Number one. Place it where it's touching the fewest cards. Right there. Boom. That's 1 and 2. That would have been nice to have, but I don't really need it at this point. The game's nearly over as it is. So 3, 2, 2. Place it on the side with the fewest enemy cards. It goes right there. So I'll clear this 4 with the 6, and then I'll clear this. You know what? I'll throw this on here, dogpile it, clear this 8 with what, 11, because that was a powerful 6. I'll play 1 enemy card. It goes right here, so it's only touching 1, and it's furthest from the center. Then I'll play this 3 to clear this 2, and then I'll draw and draw, and I win. And that's a whole game with the new rules. So it's turning out to be kind of a long video, so I think I'll call this one for now, and I may make another one later showing off the 3-4 start in the advanced setups. So thank you for watching, and I hope this helps, and I appreciate your time helping me to make this little solitaire game the best it can be.